Hello, it's me, Rach Face, back again for my life, my way, my face buried in a book. And I think it's pretty safe to say that is how I've spent the last 4 days, because I'm back. And guess why I'm back? I'm back because I have another book review, because I started a book on Kindle yesterday on my lunch break, and I finished it at 11:40 p.m. last night. Yes, I managed to finish it before midnight. I was so proud of myself. And again, somehow I still had the willpower not to start the third book in the series. So what did I read late yesterday? Well, I read the second book in the Rebels of Sandland series, Tortured Souls by Nikki J. Summers. And I raved something shocking yesterday about Renegade Hearts. And I stand by what I said yesterday. I loved Renegade Hearts. I loved the characters. I love the world she's created in this series. So much so that when I started this one, I knew I was in trouble. I read 3 chapters on my lunch break yesterday, and I had to put it down because I was like, I'm getting nervous. I don't know how I feel about this. Like, there was a lump forming in my throat, and I'm like, this hurts. Why does this hurt? And then I got home and I kept reading, and I got to chapter 8, and I did something I'm not proud of. The lump in my throat had grown so much, and the knots in my stomach from like nervous energy as to what was going to happen to Brandon and what was going to happen with Harper, and like all of that was like eating away at me, and I was getting angrier. Not angrier, but I was getting angry at myself because I couldn't control the reactions I was having. So I did something. I needed some reassurance that it was okay, that I was going to be okay, that everything was going to be okay. So I had to read the last page of the book before I went back and read the whole book itself. Now, did that work? Yes, because I was happy that there was an outcome at the end. Did I then realize that I messed myself up completely because then I wanted to read the third book pretty much straight away? Yeah, I did. Do I regret doing it? No, not for a second, because I don't think, with how big the lump in my throat was and the knots in my stomach, I don't think I would have survived just continuing to read in a straight line, because like this boy, this one, he does something to my brain. Like, when I was talking about him in the book, in yesterday's review in Renegade's Heart, he was that character that was like, drove me crazy, and I just wanted him to be quiet for 2 seconds. Now I just never want him to stop talking because I want to know more. And I'm so glad that we got to find out more about him, and we got to know more of what he'd been through and what his childhood was like, and how he became how he was, and why he's so guarded, and what happens when he lets down his walls, and how much he values the people he classes as his family. And I think what I really like about this series, especially with Brandon, and I think also I'm going to find it very much with Finn in the next one, is that it's very much the family they create, not the families they are born into. Like, I love that dynamic of, it's the family they've created is the family that they are loyal to. And I love that, because I am very much under the belief that there is more to family than just being blood. And sometimes the most important family that you have is the family that you choose, and the family that is there for you no matter what. I love that. I personally, like, there's only one more book. Like, Fractured Minds is the next one in the series. Now, there's 4 Renegade Men. The 4th one's not out yet. Renaissance Men. There's 4 Renaissance Men, and the 4th book's not out. So once I read the next one, Fractured Minds, and once I've read Finn's story, that's it. I don't have a 4th one. I don't quite know what I'm going to do. I know she's got other books, but that's not these boys. that's not the Renaissance men. What am I going to do when I don't have my daily fix? Like, I need a daily fix of these men. Like, no, sorry, I'm going to have to reread the books, scroll TikTok and just see all her character inspiration, her cover art inspiration, which, oh my god, you need to follow her TikTok, because she posts like actual TikToks of the people she uses as the cover art for her books. These are real people. The person on the cover is a real person. Like, that person exists in this world. You see, that's not fair, okay? The book's not fair because it's perfectly written. It pulls you in. It brings out emotions I don't think you ever anticipated having with a book. And I just want to be a part of their world. Like, I just want to go and visit their world for a day. And just be like, hi, just visiting. Just thought I'd pass by and say, hey. And then run. Because I think, oh, no. I don't, oh, no. I'd love to go to one of their parties. And then sort of just watch how everyone interacts. Because I think that's would be so hilarious. Okay, but what did I really like about this one? I loved the fact that there was so much depth and development in Brandon's story. Like, he's not a bad guy. Like, after the first one, you're like, after Renegade Heart, you're like, okay, not my cup of tea. Was my cup of tea. Even when I didn't like him, I still really liked him. But when you get to know his story, how did this boy survive and become the person he is today? Like, it goes to show the strength of his character and how Nikki's written him, to show you just how much you can fall in love with a character, even if you don't necessarily always agree with what they say or what they did. You can still have a whole lot of faith that it's going to be okay. And I think that's what Brandon's story brings out, is that he had been through 1,000,001 things, and yes, it changed him, and yes, there were days where you were like, oh my god, you are the devil incarnate. But I can see where you're coming from. That's always fascinating to me, when you may not agree with the character's decisions, or you may not agree with what they're saying, but it's like, I understand where you're coming from. I get your point of view. I don't always agree with it, but I get it. And I think that's what makes this book so interesting. And it's not again, enemies to lovers, but in a completely different way to what Emily and Ryan were in the first one. Harper and Brandon's relationship is complex on so many different levels. And he is so much more of a protector than I ever thought would be possible. But it's stunningly written. And it's stunningly written that as it goes on, you realize that Harper herself doesn't actually need to be protected. She needed to be spurred on. She needed to be inspired. But it's so nice to see that the women in these books aren't weak characters. They are strong in their own rights. And it is the Renaissance men that bring out a different strength that they have. So that to me is fascinating, that the male characters are strong and they are flawed in many ways, but they are understandable and relatable, and the women are they are flawed too, but they are strong and they are powerful. They don't need to be protected. They don't need to be fixed. They don't need to be put back together. They need to be supported. They need to be challenged. And that relationship, even within their friendships, they challenge each other and they push each other and they bring out different sides of each other. And that to me is just amazing. So, if you want to read a book, a series I should say, because they are standalones, you could read them all independently or individually. I would recommend reading them in the series because you get more backstory into each character. But if you are looking for enemies to lovers, if you are looking for more than meets the eye, if you are looking for a really good read, I would head for The Rebels of Sandland by Nikki J. Summers. It is excellent. You will not regret it. It is 18 plus because it is a little spicy in parts. Who doesn't love that? But yeah, absolutely amazing. Can't recommend it highly enough. And let's be honest, I'll be back tomorrow because I'll have finished Fractured Minds tonight, and I will let you know what I think of it, and then I will let you know what I think of them all as a series. Well, that one might have to wait until I get Zach's story too. Alright, bye!